Hi, everybody. Arlene Gale here with Ilene Dillon, author of Emotions in Motion. And we've been talking all day about emotions and her expertise. So I'm going to kind of put her on the hot seat here because most of you probably think emotions are good or bad. For example, anger and fear and shame and guilt are good or bad. Which category do you put them in? Well, most of us have that preconceived notion. So I'm going to be quiet now and I'm going to ask you, Ilene, based on your expertise, are emotions good or bad?
No, they're definitely neither good nor bad.
Okay.
We Emotions just are. It's sort of like asking me if water is good or bad,
Hmm.
because water can wreck things if there's a flood coming along, um, or it can nourish us and bring pleasure to us and beauty, right?
Hmm.
So it
Absolutely.
has those two sides to it. And we don't say, oh, good water, bad water. We don't usually say that. Maybe if we're talking about whiskey, we might, but
That's a whole other program.
that's a whole nother program. But so we don't put a value on energy, which water is, which emotions are,
Mm.
right? So the reason that we end up putting a value, and another way of talking about this is negative or positive. Well, I've also learned that there's no such thing as a negative emotion that exists naturally, right?
Hmm.
Emotions become negative when we sit on them, when we hold them inside and they grow in power. So anger, for example, can grow into hate,
Hmm.
and anger can grow into vitriol and whatever.
Hmm.
If you hold on to love, it can just explode your heart, if you're really holding on to love. So when we hold on to emotions, they grow in power, and sometimes they create problems for us. And that's when we say they're wrong, bad, negative, or whatever, or positive plus, you know. But really, emotions just are. They don't have a valence. They're not good or bad or negative or positive. We make them that way.
Okay, so let me push back on that a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, because we think about love. It's like, oh, you love me. So love, I would say, most people would say is good. So how can love be bad? Can you give us an example of
Sure.
how we interpret or make it go one way or the other?
Have you ever had somebody want to love you that you didn't want to have loving you?
Give me an example.
Oh, it could be in a relationship. It could be somebody you're in class with, or work with. Somebody who says, I really love you. I want to spend time with you. And they're not your person. And you
Yeah,
don't want to do that, right?
right.
Well, that kind of love is a negative love,
Okay.
right? So, real emotions, now we're back to real and not real, which is also in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Real emotions have both a negative and a positive side. And we have a couple of emotions that take up a lot of room in most people's lives that are not real emotions. And the one I will name at this point is shame.
Mm.
Okay, there's nothing positive about shame. Shame is just a message that there's something wrong with us.
Mm-hmm.
And really, there's nothing wrong with any of us. If somebody tells me there's something wrong with me, that's their idea of
Mm-hmm.
how I should be. And what I've learned, having been called overly emotional as a child, is there's no such thing. Uh, I'm just more emotional than that person wants me to be. But
Mm.
I'm just right emotional for me. I live with it pretty well, right? So,
Yeah. Hmm.
so all of the, shame, we're not born ashamed. We have
No,
to learn it, right?
absolutely.
We're
Absolutely.
born with the ability to be angry. We're born with the ability to love, but we're not born with the ability to experience shame or to feel ashamed. We learn it.
Absolutely. Well, that's great wisdom, Eileen. And, and that's just, she's just scratching the surface. In her book, Emotions in Motion, we cover 12 different emotions, right? The good,
Right.
the bad, the ugly, and then some.
Right.
So this book is very user friendly. It's designed to be picked up and read and used throughout your life and whatever comes across your path at any given moment, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it came from my heart to your heart. Just reading it will change you for the better,
Absolutely.
I think. Talk about good or bad. For the better.
For the better. Yes, for the better. Absolutely. So tell people where they can get your book and the special deal we got going right now.
Amazon.com, Emotions in Motion by Ilene Dillon, 20% off during this launch today until, what is it, 6 o'clock Pacific time.
8 o'clock Central. We've done this a couple times already.
Oh, good.
So anyway, so everybody please go until Eileen and I come back with our next few nuggets. Please go to Amazon.com and buy your copy of the book now. Until next time.
Your
Bye.
copies, there's an S on there.
Copies,
Bye.
that's right. Bye. Okay, cool. That one was shorter. That one was only 5 minutes.
I'm working on it.
Well, we're doing good. So last one, how do emotions work in relationships? And I think the fascinating thing about, at least for me, was it's kind of like when you divorce somebody, you take half of the problem with you, kind of thing, that emotions in a relationship are not really something we can blame on the other person. It's something we bring to the table. Is that
Oh,
kind of,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, unless there's a different direction you want to go, but that's kind of what I was thinking. But if there's a different direction, you're the emotional pro. I don't know. I'm just recording. So you ready?
Uh-huh.
Any questions?
Nope.
Okay, so you ready? I think you already
Ready.
said yes. Okay, so let's go. 3, 2, 1.